Hi, my name's Nick Turra. I'm the Teaching and Learning Coordinator at Port Broughton Area School. I also teach PE and health, among other things, and have a responsibility for some ICT leadership within the school as well. Back in December 2011, I was a newly appointed Teaching and Learning Coordinator and was looking for a way to engage staff in a more meaningful way than maybe once a month at a staff meeting, which any number of staff might be absent from at any one time. I just recently signed up to Twitter and been following a number of teacher blogs, and found that all of these resources that were out there, Twitter, other teacher blogs, YouTube channels, all these things were powerful learning tools, and that I'd discovered just recently, and they'd contributed to improving my teaching. So I guess based on that, I decided to create a blog for the staff at PBAS with the following goals in mind: to provide teachers with resources for teaching, a place for them to contribute and share their ideas and practice, a place to put ideas for classroom practice, to look at the latest research and develop whole school practice in specific areas, for example, formative assessment, and also to provide links to useful sites and information. So since starting the blog, there have been 290 different posts, 347 comments to those posts, and close to 25,000 visitors from around the world. So while it's not large compared with many educational blogs, I would have to say that I've been really pleased with how it's developed over the past few years. So to give you an idea of what's on the blog, I'll just take you on a bit of a tour. So the blog title is PBAS R-12 Curriculum and Pedagogy, and you can see a number of pages at the top here on different areas. So all the curriculum areas are represented, and if we go to a particular curriculum page, what it does is provide a variety of online links to different resources that might be useful in that curriculum area. So each subject area has its own list of useful resources which teachers can access. There are other pages on here specifically around pedagogy, resources that link to TEFL in particular, learning design, things like Twitter, and then a whole range of different videos and websites which I've tried to separate into the TEFL domains that show good examples of pedagogy or ideas around teaching. The other pages that we've got here, educational blogs. So if you're interested in reading other teaching blogs, there's a list of blogs. Research tips for students, digital literacy, new teachers. Recently had a student teacher this year, and was looking for information for her, and found some great stuff for beginning teachers. So there's quite a bit in there on a whole range of different topics that would benefit beginning teachers. So the main home page, as well as showing those pages at the top, shows the latest posts that have been here. So at the moment we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different posts showing, and you can flick back through older posts by clicking on the page numbers down here. Further down there's archives, so you could select a month and go back to that month and year and see the posts that were done in that time. There's also categories, so if you're looking for something a little more specific, you might be able to search for it and find it that way. There's a visitors map there showing the number of visitors that have visited the website over the past 4 years. A subscription, so pop your email in there and you can subscribe to the website, and every time something new is posted you get a link to that post. And there's 3 Twitter feeds there, one from AITSL and South Australian Twitter handle at @ImperiEducator, which the reason that they're there is because quite interesting information and useful stuff comes through their Twitter feed, and I've put my own Twitter favourites there. So every time I favourite something in Twitter, it goes into this link here, which I try to favourite things that I think will be useful for the staff at Port Broughton Area School, so that they can see what I'm seeing, or some of the useful things that I'm seeing on Twitter. On the left here, there are useful links, so anything from the ACARA website to EATSL to DECT policies, learning design, and all the TEFL information as well. So that's pretty much the home page of the blog. Gives you an idea of what's available on the blog. So one of the categories that I set up was what's happening in classrooms, and the purpose of setting this up, find it down here, what's happening in classrooms, the purpose of that was to set up a space for other teachers to share what was going on in their classrooms. So for example, rather than reading my thoughts and ideas and posts all the time, that teachers could share what they were doing, and hopefully this ability to share has meant that there's a stronger sense of connection between teachers in the school, and you can find out what's going on within classrooms rather. We all work in our own classrooms, and we find it hard to get the time to see what anyone else is doing because we're so busy. This just provided that opportunity. So for example, here's a Year 1-2 class. They were doing a junior primary history unit, and we were able to share some of the stuff that they were doing in that unit, and explain to other people in the school, other teachers, what was being done there. Another example, we had a Year 3-4 and our 5-6 class do a coding unit, and we were able to share that information around the school. So while the majority of posts on the blog are certainly written by me, my plan is over time to encourage staff to contribute and for more sharing of what's happening in classes to take place. As a school, we have developed a focus area on formative assessment over the past 18 months. All staff had seen Dylan Williams speak in February 2014, and the blog has allowed for the sharing of practice in this area. So this blog post here was one that we did early in February 2014 after Dylan Williams' presentation, and it's sort of a great example of how staff can be engaged outside of a staff meeting. It's a group of conversations that probably in all likelihood may never have occurred without the blog. The blog allows staff to have think time. They can read the information and digest it, and they can respond when they want without the pressure of being in front of others at a staff meeting. Those that may normally not speak up certainly have a chance to through this. So the post was around having listened to Dylan Williams and got motivated from that workshop. I proposed a focus on formative assessment for 2014 and some links there to TEFL and how it applied to the Australian Professional Standards, and then asked for staff who attended the day to contribute and comment about where we should go now with Dylan Williams' work. And we have a small staff of probably 14 or 15 teachers, and from that there were 45 comments generated about the day and the idea of making formative assessment a focus for our school. And the detail and the commitment that staff showed in contributing towards this post was outstanding, and some great conversations came from it. So that's a really good example of how the blog can be used to generate that professional discussion. So continuing with that theme of formative assessment, staff later in the year, in 2014, were asked to develop a personal action plan about their formative assessment practices. So what had they tried since seeing Dylan William? What were they planning to try? How successful had they been? Can we share with others what we've been doing? And so at a staff meeting, teachers filled out a personal action plan, and then those that were willing to share them gave them back to me, and we were able to put them up on the blog so that we could share that information with each other, but we didn't have to sit in a staff meeting and spend another half an hour or 40 minutes of our staff meeting time going through each person's action plan. We could put them up on the blog, and people could then read what other staff were doing, and having read through them, people could see connections. So if I was doing something specific, it might be around feedback, I could see other teachers that might be trying to improve their use of feedback, and then maybe I could go and have professional discussions with them and have some conversations around that with them. So it was great to see, who was doing what and who was trying things and whether they were being successful or not and why. So that was a really useful process as well, and the blog allowed that to happen. As teachers, we're always really busy, and what the blog allows us to do is to keep things in front of people. So keep important things in the forefront of people's minds, and to continue with the formative assessment theme, because it is something we're focusing on at Port Broughton. So June this year, continuing to keep it in the forefront of people's minds, a blog post around the 5 key strategies of formative assessment, and then asking teachers to pick one of those and explain what they are doing in their classroom that addresses the particular strategy that they selected. So we had 16 comments where 16 teachers or 16 people contributed to sharing what they had been trying in the classroom and how that was going. So again, a really good process to allow that to happen. And what we did, which is not part of the blog, but I took all of the information from our formative assessment discussions over the past 18 months and put it into a hard copy format, and we've used that document then at staff meetings to create further discussion around formative assessment in term 3 of 2015. One of the great things for me is knowing that the blog is useful for staff. I mean, that's why it's there, and that's why I created it in the first place. So having someone come up and say, thanks for posting information, I'm going to try and use it in my classroom, or overhearing someone using something that I posted, is very rewarding. I did survey staff at the end of 2014, and some of the comments that I got back were, I use the school blog quite a lot. It's a useful self-reflection tool and to find out what others are doing or thinking. Through the blog, I am forced to think outside my teaching world, and this encourages me to think differently about my pedagogy. I find the blog useful, and it engages me in discussions on a range of topics. The school blog is a fantastic forum for professional development, and the school blog is a fantastic resource. Currently there are 59 subscribers to the blog, which includes a range of educators from outside of our school. So one of my goals is to try and encourage the contribution of these people from outside of our school, as I think that this would be of great benefit to our staff. My hopes for the future for the blog are that it continues to evolve and continues to be a great resource for staff engagement in professional learning.